War Thunder has genuinely been in such a rough spot for me, specifically due to simulator battles kind of being, you know, dead. I've been playing simulator battles for about 5 years now. Have been playing the game for like six, like not actually, I think more than 5 years. And ever since that major economy change, the game mode has just been downhill since then. Yes, there have been some changes here and there that were nice, but after those changes, there hasn't been nothing much else. And the current state of Sim, as where it stands, is a is kind of a ghost town. It's a it's a shell, empty shell of what it used to be. And I'm going to kind of talk over a bit about it, and which is also part of why which is why just my video schedule hasn't really been up to date. I've been wanting to make a War Thunder video because my channel has always been among the idea of kind of just I've always, especially after I kind of stopped playing War Thunder as much as I did, my channel has always been focused on make some videos outside of War Thunder and then eventually make a video coming back to War Thunder, just kind of for a revisit. But in recent times, it has honestly been really hard coming back to War Thunder, and with me being someone who wants to kind of try and make things as set in stone as humanly possible, my lack of motivation to play War Thunder has greatly been affecting my schedule to make videos. Due to the current state of how simulator battles is, due to the current state of how simulator battles is, and how lack of the lack of retention it has makes it gives makes me not want to play it, and I kind of made this list here that I'm kind of going to go over, just kind of talking about one of the main reasons that I kind of just haven't really been wanting to play. Rewards do not make up for the spawn costs. Map sizes for jets at around 11.7 and above are too small for the speed capabilities of these jets. Objectives fail to stay interesting and motivating to do after a while due to lack of variety. Game mechanics like the Iron Dome meta negatively impact honor and skill within engagements. Off-meta jets are hard to work with and makes them unfun due to the effort required to make them work and get a sliver of value. Useful action system handicaps players that are in certain situations where they are outnumbered or they are doing really well. Not a single map has been added since Sinai from almost around 3 years ago. The lack of updates to the game mode, even though we have outcried for years for improvements, leaves a very sour taste in the mouth and head. Now, while there are other problems, these are the ones that have personally affected me. These are the ones that also have affected my love for simulator battles and of War Thunder as a whole. These are basically what killed my love for the game. These issues that have been unresolved for so long and that are increasingly getting worse in some cases, it makes the motivation to play and continue playing more difficult. The object, the map, like I previously mentioned, around maps, like I mentioned before, around the rewards. The rewards haven't been touched in years, almost years, since that big major drama. Well, a few years since that big major drama with the economy system, where they kind of did that huge overhaul of the economy. You know, ever since then, there hasn't been much different. Jets are still really expensive to spawn and in combination with the useful action system, it it makes it really difficult to break even or even go above your spawn cost. Especially, and if you're like me, I haven't had premium in about a year now, and the in every match I go into, I barely make above. If I even if I do well, there are a lot of situations where I barely make above what I spent. This makes it to where if players like me, I if I work really hard to get a bunch of ground units killed or a bunch of player killed and I died in the process, this I'm going to go negative in SL, since the fact that almost every jet at around like 10-3 and above costs almost like 10-12K spaded to spawn, and everything else above that, like 13, like 12-7 to 13-0, everything else above that is just almost like 15,000, it's like 15,000, 16,000, 17,000. The part, they're up there. And the aspect that exists of this uber fast-paced environment where the useful action system exists, where you're going to be getting kills over and over and over again, and you're going to get like 4 or 5, possibly 6 kills in one sortie if you're up at that skill level. The useful action system is going to handicap you, and you're not going to be able to make what you truly should make, which it's going to demotivate you from even properly playing. Map sizes play a role into this. Um, and not even just the with the rewards, but it's also with the objectives, the specific aircraft. The fact that these maps are so claustrophobic, as I said, to with aircraft up to around 11-7 and above, this causes a lot of situations where if you're trying to capture a point and you killed someone, if someone else engages you and it takes you a minute to kill them, by the time you kill that person, 9 times out of 10, that person that you previously killed is going to be already pretty much at your location. You don't get a break. You don't get a chance to breathe. And in top tier, this is even more. In high tier, this is even more solidified, because due to the fact of how these you have these high range, super powerful radars that have the ability to pretty much just see the entire map with little to no problem, and pretty much engage at the ranges, uh, like literally from, in some situations, these very specific situations, from runway to runway. And even though it may not guarantee you to kill, the fact that you can engage at these distances with with very little trouble seeing the enemy on radar or anything, it makes it overwhelming. It makes these playing these high battle rating brackets so overwhelming with the sensory overload of these planes, and it makes these planes that are lacking in armament, that just have possibly one thing lagging behind, it makes them kind of unusable, especially and this is primarily affecting to the Iron Dome meta. The Iron Dome meta is really, really awful right now. The Iron Dome meta really promotes jets that have high missile counts and and high end radars. These these the Iron Dome meta completely takes away the skill gap that once existed in the game. Since the Iron Dome meta is so strong and it's so easy to do, it literally makes it to where planes that don't have as many missiles, like the F-16, like the F-16C, or the or like the earlier Eagles, which only have 8 missiles, compared to everything else, which has possibly like around 12, or which has around 12 or 10 missiles, 10 radar missiles. It leads to these situations where if you are they can just shoot down your missiles while at the same time firing at you. Meanwhile, you're trying to defend, you're trying to take shots of opportunity off. Meanwhile, they're just flying in a straight line straight towards you, and not even defending. And let's not forget the fact that a lot of these players also J out immediately after you at the emerge with them. Um, the off-meta jets, the off-meta jets are unfun to use due to the fact of the how the not only how the reward system works, but how the objectives are placed. The way the current objectives sit in the way the current objectives sit in enduring confrontation are focused more on clusters. There you don't really have this separate group of ground units, off doing their own thing. You are constantly having clusters of ground units, just kind of you're having clusters of ground units that spawn in once in a blue moon. I'm mainly the ground battle. I'm mainly talking about the ground battles. They spawn in once in a blue moon or whenever you capture a point, which also will sometimes spawn once in a blue moon, and will make it even more difficult to use these jets. Like I want to make a video about the Hawk 200. Getting the value that exists in that jet is just it's just so difficult because if I want to take Mavericks on my Hawk 200, I have to choose between if I want to take four four Mavericks and no air-to-air missiles, or two missiles and two Mavericks. Now, with the problem with the HUD still being in game, where if you lose your air to air, to where if you have no air to air ordnance and you drop you you drop all your air to ground ordnance, your HUD will stay on the air to ground mode. Your HUD will not shift. Your HUD will not change to the your HUD will not change to an air to air to its standard mode, which is the air to air mode. Um, which further makes it difficult to use certain jets, especially jets that only have air to ground weapons, jets like the Q5, um, just like the Q5, um, and well, not even just the Q5 really, just jets in general, the Alpha Jet, just jets in general that don't really have the ability to carry air to air munitions but can carry air to ground munitions. And this makes using those jets a much more tougher chore while you're also trying to make use with the little value that you get. You're also getting gimped in a way, which makes it even more difficult to play, especially like if you get hit, especially if you get attacked by a fighter. Guess what? You now have to deal with your gun sight not working properly. And we just sit here going update, 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 update with no change, even though there have been multiple occasions where we have reached out, where Gaijin, there was even one case where Gaijin has reached out to us. We gave them our ideas, and we have not received a single update. We haven't received a single, we have not received a single update on them, a single uh introduction of any of them. We haven't seen anything. We haven't seen anything of what we asked for, and it has just been the same stuff since it has been the same stuff since we were asked. Nothing new has been added. The only good thing I would say, and this is really the only one I can really bring up on the top of my head. The only good thing that was added in the recent months in the recent times of simulator battles was the increase in height to capture points to allow higher BRs to have an easier time capping due to their nature of higher altitude combat. That is it. That's really the only update that we've gotten in the recent years of enduring confrontation. And when you sit down and you look at everything and you when you sit down and you look at everything and you just you and all these things add up. It it makes me not want to play. It makes me not want to play the game no more. A lot of people who I know who played this game have left or are not playing anywhere near as much as they used to. One person I know literally hasn't played the game in like 4 months. They haven't played the game in 4 months and are playing other things now. Like they're playing Nuclear Option, they're playing DCS, they're playing Ace Combat for crying out loud. They're playing just other things, you know? And they're playing them more than they did beforehand, especially now since War Thunder is kind of out of their agenda. And I've kind of been falling in that loop as well. War Thunder hasn't just I haven't been playing War Thunder in I really haven't been playing War Thunder in recent times. I literally do only like one match a day, like one match every 2 days, trying to keep the motivation there, just trying to continue to play and just hoping that something would spark. But unfortunately, nothing has really been sparking. All these problems that currently exist within simulated battles, kind of almost being more amplified as time goes on due to how uh due to players meta chasing, all the older, more seasons welcoming sim players leaving, and these more brute force players who that are like lacking in honor. Yes, I said it, because if you know, you know. They sitting here and making the game mode with all these problems more unfun to play. I was gonna make a video on the dev server, which is where this footage is from. This video was going to be on the topic of using the anti-radiation missiles and the using the anti-radiation missiles and the uh anti-shipping missiles, but I, this was something like this was on my chest for a very long time, and I feel like, and after today I played like one match today, and I don't know, it just, with the fact that Nuclear Thunder is getting added to realistic battles and there was no news or anything of anything being added to simulator battles, it kind of makes it really left a super sour taste in my mouth that just kind of made me just really just kind of just demotivated me to a complete degree to even play this game anymore. My motivation that existed beforehand, which is already kind of low, just kind of hit the gutter even more so than it ever has. But yeah, that's kind of all for now. I will I'm gonna try and find something soon to upload. Something else that's supposed to be to be in place of this. But I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.